go ahead and get started. Once again, thank you for sharing your morning with us. I'm Pam Green, the manager of the Office of Small Business Opportunity. Part of our goal is to make sure that we're bringing to our small business community information that they're going to find very valuable as far as growth of their businesses. Part of the thought process for this year is around build, grow, scale. So anything that we're doing by way of workshops, by way of any networking events, by way of any B2B, and as we interact with our collaborative partners, any of our internal stakeholders, it is to make sure that we are able to provide to you guys something that is going to either help build your business, grow your business, or scale your business. So we want to always ask ourselves that question, are we being able to accomplish that? So it's very important that after each of these events, whenever we send the surveys to you, that you're very candid in your responses as to whether or not you find these valuable to you as a business owner. So always anticipate that coming to you. I always say this, we have a team that is a small team right now, but we are mighty. You have a very passionate team that wants to do whatever we can to bring you opportunities and education. LaSasha Berlon is our small business, I forgot your title, business development and outreach coordinator, who is our boots on the ground. I love the fact that LaSasha is very tenacious in her efforts. Any one of you that's dealt with her as far as getting certified as an SOBE, you're going to know exactly what's needed when you come in. You're going to meet with her. She is going to talk about the program. She is going to make sure that you are introduced to everybody in the office. And all of us want to give you what the experience is from each of our areas. So I'm grateful to have her on board as of August of last year. So she's coming up in almost a year. Our certification and compliance person is Margaret Jones, who will be with us shortly. She had another appointment, who handles setting goals on projects. We see a lot of transportation type projects, but I'll tell you all that as we work with other internal departments, we're looking to find ways that we're able to set goals or have small businesses involved in the procurable sides of most of our other departments. So we had an opportunity to be before the ad hoc committee for OSBO Council yesterday to give them an update, and there will be more to come. So I will say stay tuned to some of that. So with the welcome, because I know it means something to take time away from your business. I'm going to turn it over to LaSasha to talk to you about a couple other things, and then I'll be back before you in just a second.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. As Pam gave me that marvelous introduction, my name is LaSasha Berlon. I am the Business Development and Outreach Coordinator for OSBO, and I'm bending over because I'm really tall. Okay. So one of the things that I want to highlight is that if you are not with our office and signed up to be a small local business enterprise, I would definitely say reach out to me before you leave this event so we can connect. I will talk to you about qualification for the program and the process, as Pam gave a slight overview of it. We have some awesome opportunities coming out of the county, and I would love for small businesses to know about that, okay? So that's one of the things I want to talk about, as well as events such as this one. You're in store for an awesome event today. We have a great presenter who will provide some information on, how to be smart with your cash flow. Now, alongside of that, we have some other events lined up for this year. So one of the benefits as a SLBE is you're a part of our database. So you will receive information about upcoming events, solicitations, and also other opportunities outside of the county. So definitely make sure that you connect with me before you leave, and then we'll talk more. I look forward to connecting with some new faces in here. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm happy to have our facilitator today, John Gethers. I've known John now for maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years, maybe. I'm not sure. We always want to put before you what we feel to be subject matter experts. So I'm excited to have him on board. So I said, John, how do you want me to introduce you? He was like, introduce me how you introduce me. So he is the director of the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, in Orangeburg, that's located on South Carolina State University's campus. What I can say about John is, outside of his passion to want to grow, help businesses scale, he is truly a subject matter expert, especially as it relates to your numbers, where you are and how you need to get there. And so we are excited to have him. He has a plethora of experiences. He understands different industries, and he is a person that I guess I have no problems with handing off someone to him to know that they are taken care of, and that more than likely, if there's an avenue for them to be able to grow their business or scale their businesses, he's going to show them exactly how to do it. And it's going to be hands-on, and it's going to be step by step, that if you do this, you can definitely grow or scale your business. So with that being said, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce our facilitator of the day, Mr. John Gethers, and let's give him a hand as he comes up.
So I usually move while I'm talking, so forgive me if the mic goes in, you know what I mean? Just kind of bear with me on that. Thank you, Pam and Richland County, for hosting me here at the Office of Small Business Opportunities. And I really want to share with you guys, before I ask you my first question, that I'm intentional about small businesses growing in South Carolina. That's not a game for me, because I had to make my bones in Atlanta, and that's not fair. When I came back from being a quote-unquote successful business owner and getting ready to sell my business, my grandmother was on her deathbed. I had spent so much time working my butt off to grow my business that I didn't even realize how sick she was. I wasn't here for my family. I wasn't being able to make a success here in the state of South Carolina, because this is being recorded. The state of South Carolina needs to do a lot more to support their homegrown small businesses. I'm excited about Scout Motors. I'm very happy about the $2 billion investment. I'm more excited when Campbell gets a contract right here at USC. I'm more excited when I see Back 40 Solutions get a contract with the state. I'm more excited to see the people that I know in this community grow their businesses at home. And that's why I do what I do. It's very, very difficult to grow a business in the state of South Carolina if you're not, quote unquote, with the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, people think that Hampton County was just Hampton County. No, Hampton County is a reflection of the state of South Carolina. It's run through nepotism, and the saying here is nepotism ain't bad as long as you ain't in the family. That's the only reason nepotism is bad. You're in the family, if you're married in the family, you're golden. So we need to change some things here, and hopefully through small businesses being more educated about how they can advocate and who they should be advocating to, we can make a constructive change. So just for sake of me presenting more effectively, how many small business owners are in the room? Woo, okay, all right. All right, how many are starting? How many have already gotten started? So starting first. Okay, gotcha. How many have already running and trying to figure out what them numbers are looking like? All right, great. So the guys who are starting their businesses, you're going to get something out of this. The people who are running their businesses are probably going to get the most out of it, because that's kind of what it's catered for. And hopefully when we're going through, you can kind of stop me and ask me some questions. Do not bobblehead me. I can't stand it when somebody just, and I know you don't know what he said because I said it incorrectly and you still agreeing with me, and don't do that to me, please. So make sure if you don't understand something, you do not allow me to go past it and we get the chance to talk about it. Fair? All right. So who am I? John Gethers. I am a guy who failed his way to success. So when I came out, again, there wasn't really much in the way of business resources that were intentional, and especially for young guys who wanted to get started. So I had 20 business failures like right out of the gates. Yeah, it's not a joke. I can call people, they can verify this. Oh yeah, right out of the gates. Nobody even knew what I was doing. People were like, man, this guy's insane. Like, he's really crashing and burning businesses. Before that, I had a stint in PE, private equity, and I worked for an investment firm. And that investment firm taught me how to look at businesses that are 50 million and up. And I thought I was so smart, and I knew all these numbers, and oh yeah, I can figure this out. And I had no idea that small businesses from 1 to 5 million, from 0 to 1 million, is a completely different, oh my God. Nothing I learned actually correlated to me being a business owner at all. I mean, I knew what to do when I actually had some money, but how to get it and how to keep it and how to manage, oh no. Did not know that. So during those 20 failures, I actually figured out a few things. Again, I came back from those failures, which some of them were catastrophic. I mean, I had a failure where they, went, put the notice on my door and took the vehicles out of my yard, and I had to start over from scratch. Luckily, I was young enough to start over from scratch. Moved to Atlanta, figured out a couple of little things and a couple of little tricks. I'm not going to share them with you because I'm under NDA. But I ended up creating a business that actually was successful. And that business was lending people money who were in the construction space. It was called Contractor Growth Capital. That company got bought by a bank right before COVID. So did pretty well. After that, we did a loan company again that was factoring to the same clients who needed some continuous bridge capital. And I was kind of thinking to myself, why do people even need this bridge capital in the first place? What's going on inside of the businesses? What do you not know that's not allowing you to grow your business organically? Because you shouldn't have to borrow this money if you were doing certain things. But again, when you're working at a finance company, I can't give you the cheat code and the money. That kind of gets you sued and people come after you for that. So I kind of just had to give you the money. But when I left, I said, you know what? I would like to give people the cheat code for a change. And this is going to be the crux of this presentation. So the first thing I want people to think about is developing your business acumen. If you look at where your business is right now, it's because that's how much you know about business. If you have a $500,000 business, you have a $500,000 business acumen. You have a $500,000 team. You have a $500,000 customers. You have $500,000 processes. Wherever your annual revenue ends up, especially if it doesn't move higher and higher from year to year, that's where your business acumen is capped out. So the first thing I want you to do is take accountability. Ain't nobody coming to save you. If you decided to be a business owner, unfortunately, small businesses in America are compared to publicly traded companies. Doesn't matter that you only have one employee. Doesn't matter that you only have 6 employees. We're comparing you to Amazon. Amazon's the standard. You're nowhere near the standard. Sucks for you. We need to do better about making sure that we're properly educated and that we keep our eyes on the prize by building teams that can help us actually do that. Second thing is making sure that you nurture your company culture. So if you ever took a job, well, nobody raised their hand because some of y'all may still be on those jobs. But if you've ever taken a job and you started and you went, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know who to report to. I don't know what my boss does. Like, I'm not really clear about my role. I don't even know how to be successful here. I don't know how to transition. I don't know how to get a raise. Have you ever been in a job like that? You can just nod your heads. Nobody's watching. All right, gotcha. Well, when somebody's getting hired into your company, are you hiring them in that type of culture? If I came to work for you, what's the roadmap for me? How do I know if I'm successful? What's my quota? What am I thinking about from day to day to make sure that I'm being a good employee and I'm being managed well? How am I being fed back? Well, the next one is the one that I like the most is select customers. Usually business owners want to work with everybody. They think that the more business I have, the more money I make. But depending on your industry, it's not a volume business. Walmart's a volume business because they're a lowest price type provider. They're going to sell you as many things as they can cheaply as possible, and because of the volume they sell you at, they can make money. But if you're somebody like a consultant and you have 50 consulting clients and you're one person, that business model is going to be in trouble really, really quickly. So you need to figure out how to select the customers that pay you the most value for your services in a way that allows you to control and scale the business. We'll get into that a little bit later. That's the most important one, in my opinion, on the wheel. Next one after that, after you start building up your customer base, and guess what? You have to have somebody to help you manage these customers. So you have to build a management team. That management team should be people who are smarter than you in their respective discipline, and you listen to them. I've been the guy that has been hired to be a I've been the guy who was hired to be a content expert in the company, gave continuous feedback, and, well, Alan, you know. So that helps you maintain financial stability by using the management team, the resources, and the tools that you now have with select customers through a process of building a good company culture where people know they're supposed to be doing. That's what helps you maintain the financial stability. You can't have a great bookkeeper with great numbers and no customers. You can't have a great management team that you don't listen to. All of these things actually work in conjunction to help you stabilize your cash flow as a small business. That's the part nobody told me. When I was a small business owner, I was going to seminars just like this, and I was getting peace. And then I went to another one, and I got another piece, and and it was just piecemealing it. And every time I tried to implement a piece, there was no real way to see the whole pie. So I want to let you know it's really a whole pie. You can't have one of these without the other and be successful sustainably. At least I can. Last thing you want to do is rinse and repeat this process, because every single time you bring in another 250, 500, 1 million, you got to go through this whole process again. Is this team the team that's going to help me get from 1 million to 5 million, or do I got to get more people and better people? Is this the accountant that I need at the $5 million level that's going to get me to the $10 million level? Probably not. Are these the resource pools that I need to have? Is everybody clear that we're going to 10 million? Did I even tell anybody? Most entrepreneurs, we're so gung-ho, we forgot to communicate to anybody in our team that we wanted to get to 10 million. So in the middle of the year, we cussing out our management mad, trying to figure out why the numbers ain't working. They're like, well, what were the numbers? Well, you didn't know I was trying to get to 10. No, we didn't know you were trying to get to 10 million. We would have been working harder. Best business lesson I ever learned, it was the same failure that ended up pulling all my resources out of my pockets. Started an underground drilling company. Every time I drive downtown, it gives me a little knot in my stomach, because I literally put in all the Verizon cell phone towers downtown. This is 2013. We were drilling downtown under some of the biggest utilities. I remember one water guy came out and said, listen to me, if you hit the water line in this ground, this whole road would evaporate. And I got pictures of where I hit it in front. Never mind. But anyway, now during that experience, I really was that guy that I'm telling you. I had all these goals in my mind. I had all these things I wanted to do, and I couldn't communicate them to my team at all. One of my employees walked up to me, he looked me in the face. He said, "Boss, you a bad slave driver." I'm black. I'm supposed to be a bad slave driver. Are you serious? He shook his head, he walked off, and it took me 4 years to understand what he told me. What he told me was, number one, I wasn't communicating what I was supposed to be communicating to him. I had no daily goals or daily quotas to help them make sure that they were meeting the goal. Last but not least, I had no incentive. Governor of North Carolina in the 1700s said one of the most powerful things about human nature I think ever said is, people learn through two ways: extreme penalty or extreme incentive. It has to be extreme because we're creatures of comfort and we're not going to change our behavior without extremity. So let's get to the harsh realities as we just talked through them. There's too many fake people in this game. Small business ownership, Gary Vee said it best, is the most faked industry ever created. Because if you told me you're a professional football player, I could probably look at you and figure out boy, you about $175 soaking wet, and you ain't got a muscle on your body. That's gonna be hard. You must be the strongest rubber band I've ever seen in my life, because it's hard to believe that you're a professional football player. But if somebody in a well-dressed suit and a nice car walks up to you and tells you they're a successful business owner, how do you know? So when you're working with people who are quote unquote your service providers and they're giving you your accounting information, they're your lawyers, a lot of times as small business owners, you're preyed upon because they know you don't know any better. And your money is their tuition. I'm gonna say it one more time. It hurts some people because I still got some money I can't recover. Everything I'm telling you is hurting me too. Your money is their tuition. They're learning on your dime. They don't have a clue how to defend you from a lien. They don't have a clue how to maintain a 13-week cash flow. But they know you don't know either. And in this game, all I got to do is know a little bit more than you. And I can take your money right out of your pocket. Now, small business is a representation of your current abilities. We've already talked about that. And just understand that entrepreneurial ego and exuberance will cause you to fail faster than anything else. The most successful entrepreneurs fail the fastest. I promise you they do. Because success is your own worst teacher. It really is. The more successful you are, the more money you make, the more you reinforce bad habits and the luck that allowed you to make your business successful. Lord knows I've met people with $1 to $8 million businesses that have no idea how to run a business at all. And boy, listen to me, at the 20, 50, 60, it just gets exposed a lot quicker, but this is throughout the spectrum. This is not just small business owners. People really don't know how to manage companies because the person that can go fix a sink and is extremely passionate about the type of pipe that they put in, making sure the fittings are right, making sure they're using the right glue and that is commercially sealed, is not the same guy who's going to sit down, walk through a cash flow statement, create a team, and communicate. You see what I'm saying? Professional management has to be learned, and nobody's born a professional manager. That makes sense? Please, God, don't bobblehead me. If it don't make sense, ask. Okay, all right, I got you. Now, the ugly truth is 95% of your company problems are people problems. Okay, all right, we got that one. Now, this is not a do-it-yourself project. If you're going to run a $10 million business by yourself, I hope you are the best AI coder in the world and you've created little bots all the way around you to help you. And those are still employees. At some point, we're going to be in court arguing about whether or not AI should have human rights. Should they be paid? Should they be compensated? Trust me, that's where we're going. So if you think you're going to do this by yourself and you don't need to ask for help and you don't need the right people around you, go get a job before you crash your company or crash your family or lose your savings chasing behind a pipe dream. You will not do this on your own. I can promise you that. Now, if you're really looking at the reason I'm here today is because less than 3% of small businesses actually hit the $5 million mark. That's a travesty in this country. The most educated country in the world, but we can't get our business owners to get to the $5 million mark on a consistent basis, and 3% is egregious. We're overtaxed, we're overworked, we are hit at the same tax bracket as a $50 million business. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now because remember, this is being recorded. So again, just know that the more successful you are, the more you get to buy advocacy. The more you get to go into a small business chamber and say, look, let's get our lobbyists to focus on these issues because these are the issues that we're all having. There's a trucking company in here. Lord knows, I know this gentleman was probably paying about $20,000 a month in insurance. Oh no, we still got payroll, we still got in insurance. Okay. All right. Well, we can do some advocacy about that, but believe you me, if Walmart was paying $20,000 a month in insurance, it'll get wiped out by the end of the quarter. They make sure that our bought and paid for political structure is working for them. So just understand, if your political structure is bought and paid for, that's not a bad thing. They told you the game. You just got to get enough money to be able to play. All right. Now, last but not least, success is your poor teacher. And again, I don't really want to talk about success until we understand the number one rule to success. Does anybody know the number one rule to success? And just take a guess. It's not a loaded question. Okay. That's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one. Both of those actually coincide with the number one. Anybody got a? Now that's the best. That's the best one. Failure. I'm telling you, if you ever want to learn, get your house taken from you, boy. It'll make you a small business guru. Anybody else got one? All right. Success must be managed. The thing people don't tell you about success is that the moment you get $1 million contract, what we figured out in our business that made us successful is that you probably need 30% of that up front. So if I got $1 million contract, at some point I need access to $300,000 in cash. Now, do you just spend the $300,000 day one? I hope not. I hope you have people in place that help you understand when, where, and how we need to spend the $300,000. I hope you have people in your team and people around you that go, wait a minute, we need $100,000 up front to buy the materials. We don't need the other $200,000 for 3 months from now. Because if we start this contract today and we're getting paid in 45 days, you see what I mean? Like, you don't need the whole $300 up front, but if you don't have the right team around you giving you the right information, then your success will whittle. And I'm telling you, they are coming. They are coming for your assets. Because failure at the $2 million level is a very long fall than failure at the $200,000 or the $2,000 level. So the more you grow and the more successful you are, the more your management skills have to take over. Because you have to actually stop this growth at some point because you're going to outpace your cash. That's what we're going to get to later. I'm going to start speeding through the slides. I just wanted to frame the thought processes so when we get to the dollars, you don't disappear on me. Developing that business acumen. So, goals and objectives starts with you. Not just superficial goals and objectives, like the real goals and objectives. Like, if you want to be a millionaire, say you want to be a millionaire. If you want to travel 6 times out of the year, say you want to travel. Be real. Don't lie. Don't do the superficial. I want a $5 million. What does a $5 million business mean? Let me tell you what that means. I did it. And guess what? I had a $5 million business, but it cost me 6 to run it. You want to know how those numbers work? I still got the evidence. I can, anyway, we're being recorded. I can show you this. This is real. I am not that old, but I got more gray hairs than my mama. Stress will do that to you. Being a business owner will turn you gray. I watched Obama get gray. I was like, good God almighty. This boy went from a black crayon to a white crayon in 4 years. Stress is real. So if you don't know something, ask. If you feel like you're at the point where you're so successful to where you can't get out here and ask somebody, then please show me your $200 million bank account. Bill Gates asked for help. Jeff Bezos asked for help all the time. Elon Musk asked his workers to take less pay so he can help them get over the hump when he was about to lose his company. Small business owners don't ever ask for no help. They too busy peacocking, chest out. And I'm like, if we still in the same room, and I know what my bank account look like, your bank account can't be that much better than mine, because there's some people I can't get in the room with. And it's bank account dependent. I ain't got no time to fly to Dubai in the middle of the week. But if you're not in Dubai in the middle of the week, you ain't got it like that. If you're not moving the way you want to move, you ain't got it like that. If all your assets ain't paid for and you just kind of like, hey man, the business fails, you ain't got it like that. So let's stop fronting, please, because it's tapering your business acumen. You get to learn a little piece when you want to learn a little piece, but you're not learning the whole game because you're too busy convincing people you already know it. Lord knows if you give me something that is too confusing for me, I'm calling my best friend in a heartbeat, because I thought I was smart till I met him. I was like, Taurus, hey, look here, bro, we got to go through these numbers. I'm a little confused. And I will say it in a heartbeat. Because if you don't say it, anybody know what happens when you don't say it? Man, you got little black trucks backing up in your yard, no symbol, no company name, shoo, peeling off. Asset recovery teams. All right. Process and structure. When you start to develop the success, quote unquote, in your company, it has to have processes in it. So I had a guy who had a company card. Company card had about $1,700 on it, $2,000 on it, to get us through the month. He can go pay for his little incidentals and company card kept going in the negative. Wait a minute now. Where's the company card going in the negative? What's this boy buying? And, you know, it was some personal expenses or some groceries. You know, him and his wife had a field day on my card. Well, now the new company policy and process is $500 a week. You blow $500 a week, I'll live with the theft. But guess what? $2,000 at one time was just a little too much for even an honest man. At least I thought he was an honest man. He just couldn't do it. So nobody in our company was allowed to have a card that had more than $500 a week on it. Same $2,000, just a lot less to do something, a lot less to do the job, put gas in the trucks, run around, and then turn around and buy groceries after that. Make sense? So every oops, every learning, every uh-oh, every oh my God, every where's my money, every time you get burned, it's a policy. And a lot of people don't like to go through this process, especially if you're one of those inspiring, you know, fiery entrepreneurs, because you feel like it's turning your company too corporate. Well, corporate organizations have a reason for doing that. You think Walmart wanted to lose $10 million on a slip and fall? Yeah, they just lost $10 million on a slip and fall. Their new policies now, they don't put the shine on their floor. You walk into Walmart from now on, that floor looks bland, base. They don't use the same coating anymore. Oh, everybody knows about the good old McDonald's coffee cup. That was one of the most famous lawsuits ever. Now, if you wanted to actually pull the lid off of McDonald's coffee cup, you need some vice grips. But that's the new policy. So before you think you're turning your company into this corporatocracy, just know that, you know, you may want to look at the processes that are getting you burned and implement them and distribute them throughout the company so everybody knows these are our guardrails from now on. I'm spending a lot of time there because that was very hard for me to do. So I'm making sure that I drill that one in because I did not want to have this corporate feeling. I came from corporate, and, you know, I just didn't want that. I wanted to be a little bit more family-oriented, a little bit more free. But every single time I wanted that, I ended up reaching into my pocket and shelling out money that I didn't have to.
So is it possible to create like a family structure and family culture? Do you still have to have that corporate base in order to build on top of that?
So the thing is about depending on what your industry is, what do you do?
So I'm in facilitator.
Okay, got it. So in your industry, safety is number one right now. And if you're looking at creating that family environment, it needs to be the same corporate processes delivered a little bit differently. Hey, look, man, I want you to go home to your family. I care about you. Yeah, this is a job we all have to do. But guess what? Your wife's not coming to me talking about you. His leg messed up. You ain't going to have to hear that. I'm going to have to hear that. So you can literally take the same exact corporate policy and explain it in a way where somebody's like, all right, I got it. It's all about delivery, and it's all about, you know, your HR processes, and we'll definitely get in that a little bit later as well. Great question. Anybody else? Last one on this one is management style. Lord knows, my management style was rough, it was aggressive, it was dollar-oriented, and I forgot that everybody I employed was a human being. I thought these were numbers, these were robots. I thought these were people who had my same entrepreneurial fiber, and they're gonna get out there and get it, boy. And shh, I was paying full-time salary for part-time work. That also helped put me out of business real quick. Now, who sets the goals in your company? How are they set? Are the goals clear? How are they measured? Hopefully it's you and your team. Please, Lord, do not come into your business if you have a team of people who work for you with goals that they didn't have any buy-in on. Because I can promise you they're going to be resented. They're going to be smiling and bobbleheading. Yeah, boss, we can do it. But inside, you know the truck keep breaking down now. If you want me to hit these goals, you need to get me a better truck. But they're scared to tell you that because you didn't even ask them what they needed to help you hit the goals. Make sense? Should be based on benchmarks. If you look at your company right now and your company is a $250,000, $100,000 company and you want to get it to $1 million, if you say I want my company to go from $100,000 to $1 million next year, okay. All right. Well, that's going to take a lot of work, a lot more service providers, probably a lot more good management people, and probably better staff. And also, you're going to have to sit down and study business like no tomorrow. Because every fault that is keeping your business from getting to that level, it lies with you. It's at your feet. So if you're not willing to do the changes that you need inside and outside of your company, let's just make sure we use our financial benchmarks. So if we go from 100, let's get to 250. Let's go from 250 and see if we can double it. You know, let's use something that's realistic. Use some guideposts. The goals are going to be clear based on successful execution of the goals. If you and I both agree that we want to go to lunch at the same time, at the same place, at the same restaurant, and I get there and you don't get there, was something unclear? Was there a little bit of traffic on the way? Like, what happened? We can communicate that. We can talk about that. But if we do that same recipe and we're both there at the same time, it's nothing in your mind that says there was anything unclear. I'm married now, so I have to go through this process on a daily basis. No offense to my wife. We different people. We love each other, but we very, very, very different. And I got to go through this process iteratively. I mean, every single day I got to make sure, all right now, it's 2 things that you want from the stove. Both of them are aware now? How much? Okay, all right, I got it. Listen, man, any client that ever works with me, the moment they tell me they have been doubled their company, they got a new product line, they got anything that they're doing that's new and great and bigger and outside of what they're currently doing, I congratulate them, but all of them know I do not get happy. I don't jump up and joy and pop no champagne because I'm thinking about, oh my God, here's all the risks, here are all the process, here are all the people, here are all the things you're gonna need to manage your new success. So business ownership ain't as fun as people make it out to be. I promise you it ain't. It's definitely for the gram. If people smiling and grinning all day, telling me, my business is great. Yeah, right. Key performance indicators is usually how you want to make sure that you are hitting your goal and the goals have been measured in a way that makes sense. KPIs are literally just guideposts. You ever been riding down the road, you see them mile markers, trying to get to exit 146, but it see it 122, 121, 120? What's that telling you? Yep, y'all get lost easily. I can see that. Well, hopefully, if you're trying to get to 146 and the mile markers say 122, 121, and 120, hopefully it's telling you going in the wrong direction. Hopefully, you get off on the next off-ramp, turn around, and go back down the next off-ramp. You know what I mean? Start this over again. I'm 20 miles in the wrong direction. But see, that's how I know you're not setting KPIs in your business. You just told on yourselves. But guess what? I didn't either. And you know what happened? I was at the end of the road and was like, oh, this is the end of the road. How did I get here? You mean I can't borrow no more money? I can't do nothing? Like it's over? Like, you don't want to be in that situation. You want to be in a situation where literally you and your team are going through a weekly, monthly kind of chart and you're saying, okay, guys, we needed to hit 10 houses built this month. We're at 8. You know what that means? 12 houses next month. Because I still need my 10. Does everybody understand that? Am I working with a team that can get me there? All right, now let's go out here and build some houses. But if you don't have that KPI set in the company and everybody's not clear on it, you're not going to end up at the same restaurant at the same time. You're going to be eating alone. And every time I see somebody eating alone, I'd be like, what is their personality like? They couldn't even get a friend to come to lunch with them? Like, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to eat alone. Gotcha. I appreciate the feedback. Sole member LLCs, I can say that right now. Like single member LLCs, that's the response that you get. Company culture. So if you're looking at it, it should be clear, it should be felt, it should be scalable. There's a gentleman in the audience that did a seminar. Boy, listen to me, I learned, that thing stirred me. Because one of the guys in the back said, people do not quit their jobs, they quit management. Ooh, boy, that thing hit different. I was like, wow, never heard that before. But how true it was. I've worked for a company in corp. I love that company. I love what they were doing. I love the mission of that company. It was very, very clear. The guy I was working for, oh man, listen, we couldn't be in a room today. We just couldn't be in a room. I still feel like the resentment, like from how hard he made something that was supposed to be so impactful. You know what I mean? So easy. So just think about that. If somebody's working for you, how do they feel? What's the impression that you're leaving? Are they even clear why they're working for you, what they're supposed to be doing? Remember now, your business is only going to be as good as you are. Learn this one from Mr. Smith in the audience here, feedback loops. Man, listen to me. If you're not talking to your employees and your employees are not talking to you and that's not an honest conversation, recipe for disaster. Just know it. It is, listen, it's a slow death. It is a divorce waiting to happen. I can promise you that. So just know that I need you to be honest with me even if it hurts my feelings. Because if I am not getting honesty from you, I can't give you what you need to do your job better. And I want you to know that's the type of person you're working for. All right? Growth opportunities. If I identify somebody who's great, who's doing something, every time I get this guy a project, it's finished above time, under budget, I got to promote this cat. Sometimes you have entrepreneurs who are actually a little bit intimidated. I don't want to teach him too much because he may run off. Well, you may not teach him enough and he stays. Figure it out. Which one is more valuable to you? If you're looking at knowing your staff's motivations, man, listen to me. I work with people who didn't want more money when they should have wanted more money, deserved more money, were worth more money. They stayed literally because their organization awarded them. Here's a trophy for being Employee of the Year. Here's accolades for the project that you finished. Here are the things that literally make you feel great about working with my organization because you're recognized in this organization. Yeah, you may go get money at another, way more money at another organization, but guess what? You're a number. Nobody even knows what you did. Nobody even walked by your cubicle and say thank you. I'm paying you, ain't I? You getting paid good, ain't you? Well, that's the thank you. And they'll walk off. I work for people like that. So just know your people's motivations before you actually start to grow your company. You need to be doing this before you grow or as you grow. Because once you grow, you can't get your arms around it. That's what happened to me. Once your business starts bringing in all these dollars and you start hitting 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, you don't even know who works for you anymore. You can't even see the ground. I don't know what people were doing from day to day. I was getting progress reports, but I couldn't verify that. I wasn't in the same state with them. That's a terrifying feeling. Oh boy, listen, this gray hair right here, this one, came from not knowing what was going on in my business from day to day. I couldn't even function. But that's what will happen if you're not creating a continuous system of processes, people, and feedback loops. Now, please. Brilliant question. So I'm going to answer this in 2 ways. Number one, people working from home will never be as effective when they're on the job, in my personal opinion, is because home is where you go to relax. Yeah, listen, Angela, I know you love your house, but that's where you go to do this here. Put them feet up on that table, put them arms across that stomach, eat something good, drink something good, watch something good. Hopefully you ain't got nobody in there bugging you. Because if they are, you want them out the house because you ain't leaving. That's the mindset that you have at home. Relaxation, rest, family. To turn that into a work environment, it's kind of counterintuitive. And this is a guy who loves to work from home, but I know I ain't as, I'll be honest, now, I ain't as effective at the house as I am when I'm in the office. Because when I'm in the office, it's office mode. I expect people to walk in the door. I expect people to mess with me. I expect the phone to be ringing off the hook. And I'm geared for that. But when I'm at the house and that's happening, I kind of resent it. I'm like, I'm about to make a sandwich. So, you know what I mean? So let's just be real. It don't work. The second part of that is I would look at scaling through really, really good project managers. And I would promote my project managers, hopefully from within or get them from without, and incentivize them either through equity or ownership to run this thing like it's their own business. One of the things I learned about scaling in multiple states is that billion-dollar companies that hadn't even sold, they won't sell anymore. They'll sell to their employees. It's called the ESOP model. Employee stock owner participation, employee stock owner ownership programs. Those programs are now turning people who were frontline staff, literally middle management, into the owner of an entire region. So I'm responsible for this now. This is my region. So if I'm looking at the modern day, man, brilliant question. If I'm looking at the modern day business model, it is really kind of centered around bringing people in, give them that sense of ownership and that sense of responsibility, and letting them run that area under the direction of me. I wish I had done that instead of pointing and clicking and telling them, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to think. And what I was doing, I was actually handicapping the people that were supposed to help me grow, because I didn't give them the ability to make mistakes and think for themselves. I was thinking about every little dollar because, small business owners, we can't afford to lose that much. You know what I mean? Amazon ran 13 years, no money. Their investors paid for them 13 years to figure out their business model. Facebook ran 7. So don't let these cats fool you. This ain't an equal playing ground. It sounds smart to somebody stupid. My dad used to say that all the time. Every time I lied to him, boy, you sound smart to somebody stupid. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So if you're looking at systems, number one, with that new branched out model, find a really good project management system. I don't care if it's a software. I don't care if it's a person and a process and an Excel spreadsheet. Find a system that gives you your KPIs, your daily targets, your human capital, all in one snapshot. It's taking 5 people to do this one project at this dollar amount, and it cost me this. I charge this. I can't do that no more. I'm going to lose money. Next time I do this, I got to do it this way. I'm having to purchase a Lord have mercy, this thing's $70,000 a year. It's called Procore. But for me in construction, I have to have it. Because Procore is, number one, the thing that my customer uses, so it's, a little gamesmanship there, be integrated. But the second thing is, to your point, that is a process that now everybody is clear. I can literally let the software run the business for me. Second thing about processes, too, is financial management. So my upper management that's around me, which we're going to get to later, boy, I'm taking way too long to get through these points because we still got the financial section. Excuse me, I'm about to speed through this. Yeah. So I still got an hour left. We're about to fly. But real quick. So the processes that you want in place have to be management team driven, and they have to be executive owned. What does that mean? Well, your management team typically works for the owners and the executives, but guess what? If they fail, are you blaming the management team, or did the executives set unrealistic expectations in the first place? So you have to own the failure of management if you really want to be a successful business owner and you're trying to scale process-wise. Because maybe I put a process in place that nobody can actually do. May not be able to see 19 patients a day. May only be able to see 13. So if you're not seeing 19, but you're consistently seeing 13, maybe I need to lower the bar to 15. You have to own the failure of your frontline staff. So it was Kim and then you. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please.
When it comes to scaling small businesses and setting a financial budget, how do you feel about factoring companies and small businesses using those? And do you have any that you would prefer that you may use or refer your small business owners to?
So I'll answer the question briefly and I'll come back to it at the end. Factoring is good only when you have a legitimate cash flow gap. And I owned a factoring company. That was the second company I sold. So it's 2 types of factoring. It is a factoring that is recourse and then non-recourse. So non-recourse factoring is not bad because if the person doesn't pay you within 90 days, they don't come after you, they go after the customer. Recourse factoring ain't that good because if they don't get paid in 90 days, they're going to come back in your bank account and try to make themselves whole. So that's two things you want to look out for. The biggest part about factoring is, are you going to lock me in for 6 to 12 months? If you're going to let me do something called spot factoring, meaning I can use you when I need to use you, then that's a financial tool that you should keep in your tool belt because you only need to use it when you want to use it. The names and recommendations I'll give you offline. And then you had a question, ma'am. No, you didn't get my PowerPoint. No. You didn't get the PowerPoint down. And I'm saying that funny, but I've literally given PowerPoints out and seen other people do my presentation. You know what I mean? So I'm literally looking at it like, wait a minute, like, oh, okay, all right, boy, that's brilliant work. So yeah. So study and research. Go ahead, please, Alan.
All right, so the question was around work from home.
Yep.
Right? Do you think that part of that has to do with company culture, industry, business models? Do you think some of that can be nuanced, right? Because you spread your perspective across the swath of everybody working from home.
Sure. So if somebody's a purist like you, right, a diehard, they're gonna work wherever they are, and there are exceptions to that rule. I'm looking at it from an owner perspective. I can't let the 2 or 3 purists in my organization keep the 13 people who ain't gonna work as hard. You know what I mean? So let me caveat that. If you know you got some diehard folks, that's a little bit different. They're gonna work wherever they are, but whole organization full of diehards. Rare, show it to me. I've never seen it. So, you know what I mean? Like, we talking about a unicorn, not rare. What'd you say? It is true, but it's, it's... We get to these numbers, we'll see if you still feel that way.
I asked that question because, what's evidently clear is that you can't do part of what you're presenting.
100%.
Right?
100%.
You have to work the whole thing into it.
It takes time. Again, everybody won't be a millionaire until they figure out what it takes to be a millionaire. And then they like, I'm going to go get a job. So if you're looking at where are your customers going, that's the question that you need to ask. And you need to study and research before you ask that question. So I was on the phone yesterday with a prospective customer looking at doing some business. And I literally asked, where's your company going? Why should I work with you? And is this a marriage or is this a quickie? How are you looking at me? Let's just be honest. Well, John, I'm trying to move down here. We weren't discussing a fishing trip just because it was a fishing trip. Our company's expanding down here. We got 5 to 10 years of work already in your market. We're looking to open up an office in your market, and I want to run that office. And this is my point person. I'm like, hey, well, I may need to change what I was about to do and was about to think about because if you going to be the point person and you going to run the office down here, you'll give me more work than any other of my other customers in the market. How did I know that? Because, again, when they start putting them stickers on your door, you get real versed in business real quick. And, again, now I'm sharing you that to be kind of funny and being facetious. It was not funny and facetious when it was happening. It was real, and it was extremely painful. I can laugh about it now because at the end of that same year, I actually sold the business for a $20,000 profit. So, you know what I mean? Even failure could be navigated. You just got to talk to the right people. You got to ask for help. You got to swallow your pride. You got to go, I did it wrong, and help me do it right. Now, what do they value? Your customer feedback loop is one of the most important feedback loops you'll ever create for your business. Calling your customers and go, why did you choose me, is not a bad thing. Having them honestly tell me, what could I do better? Do you want to grow me? Are you just using me transactionally? You know, for me, I'm brutally honest. I don't care. You don't pay my bills. Am I your minority checkbox? If I am, I'm a phenomenal one. You know what I mean? You can continue to use me, but I need to know that's what you value about me. I'll go get more certifications. I'll look for tax breaks that can help you. Just let me know what it is that you value about me so I can become more valuable to you. Your customers are more than willing to tell you that, and I guarantee you, most of the vendors don't ask that question. So they're automatically looking at you like, oh, wow, these guys are my guys. I like that. I like those type of questions. Yeah, definitely. Now, building that strong management team, I want to first start with accountant versus CEO. Most people think that an accountant is doing what a CFO is supposed to be doing. Most people don't know what a CFO is. So I want to just by show of hands, be honest. Nah, you don't have to raise your hands. I'm not going to put you out there like that. Is your accountant giving you a 13-week cash flow? Are you actually going through and getting the granular tidbits of information from your accountant? Probably not. The reason is that your accountant is not a CFO. They may try to act like one. They may even try to go, hey, we got fractional CFO services. Qualify them. If somebody is wanting me to reach my hand in my pocket and give them their money, I treat them like the enemy. Because you're not going to give me my money back for your failure. You're not going to give me my money back because you screwed something up. You're not going to give me my money back because of oops. So before you get my money, who are you? What's your recipe for success? What is your track record for success? Who can I call to make sure you're real? I don't care who you are. If a lady at church walked up to me and said, hey, I want to do your taxes. Who are your clients? In the name of Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry. You just turned my switch on. Let's leave the church grounds so I can figure this out. Because I might be a little too nice and mess around and give you my money by accident. Let's set this up for a better time where I can be a little bit more Shark Tank. Shark Tank don't give you your money for tuition. Them boys will sit down and scrutinize every single thing they know about your industry and about your business. Why? Because if you fail, they do not get their money back. Treat your service providers just like you would an investor. Why should I take this? Why should I use this? Why are you the one I should get it from? Great idea, but why are you the one? Okay. Operation.
What is the difference between a CFO and a comptroller?
Okay, gotcha. So most of the times in your business, your comptroller is the guy that's feeding your CFO the information that he needs to make the financial decisions. Most of the time, a comptroller is a mini CFO. So he's aggregating between your accountant and what the business is actually currently doing cash-wise, and he's taking that information to the CFO and he's saying, all right, now, this is where we are. Can we buy this truck? Does it make sense to buy this truck? And a lot of times, and in most organizations, they're the same person. In construction companies, a comptroller and CFO are pretty much the same role.
So should we have one at a certain stage in our business?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it. Boy, listen to me. You know the business owners in the room. I'm telling you that. I love the questions. Because this is why this presentation was created. For people who are literally at that point where they have to start making those decisions. Because when I was at that point, guess what I didn't do? Didn't ask the questions. Too busy entrepreneurial peacocking. All them trucks in my yard and looking good and nice house and yeah. All right. HR professionals was the number one weakness I had in my business. I mean, the number one weakness I had in my business. I had no idea what a fractional HR person was, what they did, how they helped you. If you don't have a fractional HR relationship, you hadn't reached out to somebody who's in fractional AR, you need to do that immediately. Because even though this is a right to work state, you can't fire anybody just the way you want to fire them. I can promise you can't do that. Another thing I mentioned, I've been sued more than anybody in this room. I guarantee you that. Oh, man, when they find out you got a couple dollars and you're doing a couple things successfully, they coming. They are coming. I fired you because you sneezed the wrong way. Oh, that's sexist. They coming. You can't even really give a person a reason why you fire them nowadays. But also, when you're hiring, do you guys send out offer letters? Anybody? Okay. All right. Well, you need to talk to an HR professional. I did not know how important the offer letter was before you hire. It is a clear pre-contract that literally states, this is what I'm expecting, this is what you promised me you can do, and here's the length of time I'm going to give you to prove it. And guess what? That changes by state. So if you're operating in multiple states, you might need a professional who can either operate in multiple states or you need a professional in every state. See how that success and that 1 million, 2 million thing, see why I'm not excited about that anymore? You get it? See why all this has to be managed? Man, you can lose your butt so quick, man. It's unreal. Last one is middle management. That middle management is the game. Those are your frontline soldiers. They're the ones that give your comptroller the information that he needs. They're the ones that make sure the guys on the ground are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're the guys that you go to before anybody else and go, what's going on? Weekly, monthly reports, however you want to do it in your company, please tell me what's going on. Be honest with me. I need another truck. The truck breaks down. Cool, let's get him another truck. He's a rock star. Let's make this happen. Hey, man, we're running out of building supplies, so we need to order building supplies a lot earlier. Cool, let's figure out what we need to do. Now, as we're getting that list, guess who we go to? Accountant, executive team, sitting down with the members, and we're going, all right now, guys. All right, customers, I got to order my supplies earlier. I got to pay a little bit more up front to have them because I got to store them and I got to wait to use them. Now, I got to actually start charging you more, Mr. Customer, because this is what I have to do to service you. And your customer, if you come to them with that level of logic, they go, yeah, you probably do. That makes sense. But if you just charge a customer more and they go, why did you charge me more, man? You know what? It's a Tuesday. You know what I mean? I know you need me. You know what I'm saying? It's a deal on that. You know you could pay me. That's not going to go over so well. So just make sure that before you make a business decision to sign the next contract, you've talked to that middle management. They've given you the feedback you need to execute on that next contract. And you're putting these processes in place because usually that feedback is going to require your price to go up. Rarely does your middle management come back to you and tell you, nah, we can run it the same way we've been running it. That's very, very rare, especially in today's changing climate. Now, that financial stability, fractional CFO. Once you get to the $250,000 mark, fractional CFO conversations have to start. That's what I recommend. If you're at the $100,000 mark, you need to identify one. Now, how do you select your service providers? Number one, you are from, your career has been spent, and all you work with are people in my industry. I don't care if you're a fractional CFO. If you're not a fractional CFO that does what I do, I'm giving you my money for tuition. You're about to figure it out on my dime. I don't care if you're my lawyer. I don't care if you're my insurance agent. If the bulk of the work that you do isn't in my industry, my money is your tuition. I'm paying you to go to college on my dime. Whew, that's got to feel good. And guess what? Every dollar that I'm paying you, he's actually getting more customers in the same vein because now he's learned how to do it off your dime. But did you get the services that you should have gotten? Just you know, it's just a question. I mean, I don't want you to answer that. Just think about it. Did you get the services that you should have gotten for somebody who's figuring it out? If I was up here figuring out how to give this presentation, do you think I would be giving this presentation this way? Could be a good charlatan. Now, weekly sales targets. Please, God, set weekly sales targets. If you're underneath $5 million, you don't have enough cash to survive. You don't. Banks don't even want to look at you. They know you don't have enough cash to survive. It used to be $2 million. Post-COVID is $5 million. We don't want to have a conversation with any company that is not a $5 million company because you don't have enough cash to take a hit. Usually at a $5 million company level, you have most people are recommending 8 to a year now of cash reserves. So that means if I didn't make any new progress, any new contracts, I can literally run my business for the next 8 months to a year off the cash that I have sitting in the bank. That's why those weekly sales targets are so important, because if you miss them, your cash is going out of the door. So honestly, that's the standard, because COVID has taught us that the biggest businesses in our country couldn't survive 3 months. They didn't have enough cash. Pizza Hut filed bankruptcy. Domino's filed. Belk's filed bankruptcy. Neiman's filed. Good God Almighty. These are publicly traded companies filing bankruptcy because they didn't have enough cash reserves on hand. So 8 months to a year is your goal. Once you have 8 months to a year of cash reserves on hand, you can actually go, whew, as a business owner. Good God almighty, I might have actually built something. I might be okay. Because I know if anything went wrong with any of my customers, any delayed payments, I know if a catastrophic event happened, I could at least keep my doors open for the next year to figure it out. Which means you end up buying your competition because they ain't doing this. And that's what happened. We'll get into that later. Resource management. Again, once we figure out what our processes are in our company and we figure out what software we're using, what tools we're using, now we got to figure out how many people can execute on it. We have to have the resources around us that we can tap into. Okay, Mr. Fractional CFO. Okay, Mr. Frontline Staff. Let's sit together, let's talk, and let's go. How many people do we need to execute this new contract before we take it? Yes, it's $1 million contract. Oh, I'm excited. You see my posture? That's the excited posture. I can't even sit still, boy. I'm happy. But this is what I know. I know it's going to take people, it's going to take resources, and it's going to take the current cash out of my bank account to execute on it. So can I actually do this? Let's just be real. $1 million contract is not as exciting when you know you need $300,000 to do it. Got it. Efficiency before capacity. The reason why we're influencing you with this whole continuum and this whole wheel is because if you haven't actually have that in place and you're figuring it out on the $1 million contract, you might be able to do it. That's what entrepreneurship is. It's jumping off the bridge and building the plane on the way down. But guess what? It's probably not a good idea. You want to figure out how you can run an efficient contract, an efficient operation before you say yes to more work. And I can promise you, if you bite off more than you can chew, you don't get a second chance. Not in this climate. It ain't happening. So efficiency before capacity. If you don't learn anything else from this presentation, remember that. I want to make sure I'm making 30% margins off every contract this size. I know I go to this person. I got this lawyer. I know I need to put the payroll in this way. I know I need to put the invoices in at this time. Everything is on autopilot. Now I can go do more. Because this won't kill me while I'm trying to get more. And I'm speaking from experience. Trying to manage this and cook this pot and then cook that pot and then stir that pot. Well, I needed 16 arms. And I didn't know what was going on in any of the pots. Efficiency before capacity. At this point in the presentation, this is usually when entrepreneurs do this. They stick their head in the sand. Because this is before the numbers. This is what you need to make sure the numbers that I'm asking you to present to me are even accurate. Because you don't know. You ain't got time to know. You meeting with people, you talking to prospective customers, you driving all over the state, you're driving multiple. You don't have time to produce this information and run the business. So usually on the way down, I usually have to go to the entrepreneur and take a shovel and find his head, pull it out the sand and go, hey, look here now. It ain't as bad as you think, because hey, look, you still got your house. So guess what? We can figure out how to fix it. But what you don't want to do is put your head in the sand and get overwhelmed by this information and the fact that you may not have some of these things in place. Take your time, piece by piece, day by day, month by month, ID the things that you know you're missing and work towards them. Very, very hard to hit a target if you don't know what it looks like. You know, they say a sailor with no destinations always reaches his goal, you know what I mean? So now that you know what you're looking for, it'll be a lot easier to get there. All right, now we get into the financial portion, and I'm going to breeze through this because we're going to do an exercise. So creating financials, you can find this online, you can find this anywhere, so this is not revolutionary information. I'm just going to deliver it maybe a little bit different. If you're under $5 million, your financials are rear view mirror documents that really ain't telling you much. By the time you see your financials, that has already happened, that cash is already gone, that bank account is already empty. So these are rear view mirror documents. Year over year, they tell you a really good story. If you've been doing financials for 3 to 5 years, you can start to get a good picture of what you look like year over year. Getting financials every quarter to help run your business and you're underneath $2 million, we'll argue all day with accountants about it. We can have good arguments about it. I just don't see the value in it. I don't think that's really helping you. You need forward-facing documents. Now, you have a bookkeeper and you have an accountant. Most people think they do the same thing. They do not. Most accountants got away from bookkeeping 10 years ago. It's not as profitable as sitting down and cheating you out your money, being a CFO, or cheating you out your money, or literally robbing you. I'm not a big fan of service providers because they're the biggest crooks in our marketplace when it comes to small businesses, because they know you don't have enough money to sue because they got your numbers. Oh, it's a racket, boy. Just doing that thing get under my skin. But I've literally had clients with 18 to 20 to $500,000 stolen from them by their accounting firms. This is no joke. Do not trust the person that's doing your numbers, and when I ask you for your numbers, well, my accountant handles that, is not a sufficient answer. Ask Rihanna, ask Kevin Durant. Never mind. Anyway, so day-to-day transactions are usually handled by your bookkeeper. They're the person that goes through and reconciles that bank account for you. I never let my bookkeeper work for my accountant, and I let my accountant work for my bookkeeper. I'm going to hire them independently, and they're going to watch each other. That's just me. You do it however you want to do it. Especially when the accountant goes, oh, yeah, I got a great book. Yeah, I bet you do. I'll never meet them. I got my own. So, credit card transactions. Bookkeeper is supposed to be keeping up with that. Receipts, he's keeping up with that. Any of your tedious, day-to-day, just going out and operating the business, your bookkeeper is supposed to get that. He reconciles that. He asks you what categories they go in, and then he gives it to the accountant. See how much of the accountant's work is already done for him? Ever wonder why they charge so much? Yeah, you can actually go and say, well, I got my bookkeeping done already. Everything's reconciled and categorized. I need you to lower your rates because you think you're going to have to do this, but you don't. So now you can actually have a little bit of leverage with your accountant if you had a really good bookkeeper. Now your accountant is the one who prepares the financial reports. Hopefully they're correct. He's the one that actually does the tax compliance, the tax workouts. Hopefully there are CPA firms that you're working with. The only reason I say CPA firms doesn't mean that they're better accountants than anybody else. It usually means they're a fiduciary. So if they're a CPA, they got a license that it took a lot to get, and they do not want to lose. And if you have a regular accountant who's not a CPA and you report him, it's kind of like, If you have a CPA and you report him, it's very serious. CPA can lose his license just like a lawyer. And I'm just letting you know the CPA exam is probably 2 to 5 times harder than the bar exam. So those guys do not want to lose that license. All right? Now, the primary reports, of course, are the income statement, balance sheet, the forgotten cash flow statement. Nobody ever does a cash flow statement, and we call that the forgotten financial statement. And depending at what size you are in your business, you have a statement of owner's equity, which tells you really not really how much it's worth, it's just how much you have left over after everything has been run. Income statement, you have your sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit. You have your marketing payroll, is sometimes listed as SG&A, and then you have your net profit. And here's what it looks like. Now, here's where, me and accountants usually have some arguments. But again, I've never seen an accountant really run that big of a business, and I've never seen an accountant branch off and do anything else but numbers. So just understand, the most important number on this is, what do you think? Just a survey for the room. What do you think the most important number on your income statement is? Say again? You can say. Okay. All right. Gotcha. What expenses? Because there are multiple expenses on an income statement. Anybody know which ones? Anybody? Just take a guess. There's no wrong answers. Okay. Very close. Woo! Who said it? All right. The most important number to me on that income statement is that gross profit number. And I'm going to tell you why. See, your revenue is what you made. The cost of goods sold is what it cost you to make it. Remember I said I had a $5 million company, cost me $6 million to run? Yeah. Cost of goods sold is extremely important because those are the direct expenses. If I got a trucking company, what do I need to run that truck? I can't make money without the fuel and insurance. They are a direct cost. If I get $100,000 and the fuel and the insurance are $60,000, how much I got left over? Whew, not as much as the $100,000. And I can't make the 100,000 unless I spend the 60. That's what the cost of goods sold represents. So that net profit, that gross profit, that net profit, is not as important as that gross profit. That gross profit is what you have left over to run the rest of the business. That's where you get paid from. That's where your taxes get paid from. If your gross profit number is too low, you're either too high on your expenses or too low on what you charge your customers. And as you can see, year over year, they begin to tell a story. That's why I said if you're under $5 million and you're not doing this 3 to 5 years in a row, your financial statements are kind of like, what are you going to get from that? Again, my daddy, you sound smart to somebody stupid, boy. Yeah, I'm going to send you my 1-year financial statement. Okay, all right, got it. What is that going to tell me in 1 year? But year over year, you can look at the story. They made more money, but guess what else went up? Good old cost of goods. Because I had to spend more to make more. It costs money to make money. Okay? Now, the expenses and the marketing and all that other good stuff, after he paid for that, that totaled out to $53,000, the rest of the business. Now how much he got left over? Look at that first column. What's left over there in that earnings before tax? That's what the business actually made. See how business ain't so fun no more? Not unless you know this. Now, once you know this, it starts to get a little bit of fun. But until you know that you ain't got no money until you get the earnings before tax, you're looking at the wrong numbers. That net profit number told you nothing. That gross profit number told you everything. So I either need to charge more and pay less, or I need to pay less and charge more. There's only one or the other. There's only 2 ways to make more money on that gross profit line. Make sense? So this is not so intimidating, is it? It's not, you know what I mean? It's not what people make it out to be. People make this out to be so much harder than it is. This is just the truth of your operations. So now this is why you go back to that management team and you go, okay, guys, how can we cut costs? Can we buy cheaper fuel? Can we buy fuel in bulk? Now that management team and all those people that we talked about for the first hour help you change these numbers from bigger to smaller when they're supposed to be smaller, and from smaller to bigger where they need to be bigger. Make sense? Got it. Balance sheet. Simply what you owe, what you own, what's left over. That's all the balance sheet really is at the end of the day. It's your assets, what you own, your liabilities, who you owe, and what's left over is that little bit of equity that's left. Buy a $10,000 house, $5,000 loan, how much is the house worth? $5,000. That's what's left over. That's your equity. Very simple. Same thing with your business. Now, the nuances of this are very, very intricate because this tells you a lot about your business that you need to know. Now, my favorite 2 numbers on a balance sheet are AR and AP. I like parties. I love balloons. The only balloons I do not like are AR balloons. Accounts receivable is your money in somebody else's pocket. Boy, you know what I'm saying? Boy, yeah, I know I owe you $10, but as long as I owe you, it never go broke. That is not true. Actually, it's the exact opposite. The longer you owe me, the faster I go broke. Because if I don't get paid in 30 days, I've already shelled out 30 days of cost of goods sold. If I don't get paid for 60 days, now I have 60 days of cost of goods sold and still no money. If I don't get paid for 90 days, I don't think I'm ever going to get paid. The cost of goods sold are gone. I still got to pay my workers. I still got to pay my insurance. I still got to put fuel in the truck. Whether or not I get paid or not is dependent on me invoicing correctly and being a dog about my AR. Buddy, if I see somebody hasn't paid me, we got to figure this out. Hey, what's going on, Sarah? How you doing? Look, I don't want to be a bottleneck for you. I don't want to be a headache for you. Look, we sent that invoice in on the 25th. It's pretty much correct. You guys taught us how to send it in. Look, I don't want to be a bother, but I need that check cut this week if you can. Please? You know what I mean? Flowers, roses, dance at your funeral, cry at your wedding. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, I'll make it nice and jovial as I can. But I am drop dead serious, and I will be outside waiting at her car when she get off work if I don't get my money. Don't want to stalk you now. Don't want to be a bother now. I brought you some flowers. Cut that check in the morning now, please. You know what I mean? Don't want to come to your house. But you need to make sure that the AR is the number that you collect, because the longer it goes outstanding, it shrinks your profitability. If you pay 3 times as much for the pay, is the pay still worth the pay? Okay, there you go. So if you ever wonder why your profit margins are shrinking, typically if you look at a business, they're not collecting their AR when they're supposed to. They're letting their customers stretch them out for 60 days. Now, on the opposite side, I'm gonna get to your question. AP is the opposite end of that. That's accounts payable. Those are the guys that I borrowed resources from that now I gotta cut a check to. So guess what? My job is to stretch them out. Hey, look here, buddy. I've been buying roofing material for you for the last 2 years. I always pay on time. That roofing material gotta give me 60 days to pay. Because I wanna pay you in 60 days, and I want my customer to pay me in 28. Imagine living in a house where you only pay rent 6 times a year. How much more cash do you have? That's a free loan for your business. If you ever want to give your business a free loan, collect your AR 2 to 3 times faster than you pay out your AP. That's where I made a lot of money lending money, because cats didn't know that. And I would look at it and go, they got the money, it's coming. This is going to be an easy loan. Hated it, kind of was like, this is kind of cheating. But all business is cheating. Anybody can go dump their trash, you just don't want to do it. So that's why you pay the garbage man. Yeah, it is what it is, you know what I mean? So that's how I made my money. But if you ever want to give your business a free loan, look at your balance sheet, look at that AR, look at that AP, and figure out how to swap them. Evans.
I just want to make a statement that when you're getting ready to enter into an agreement or read the contract, because I just read one of my contracts and they had a 75-day payout. I mean, of course, you know, you put yourself out in business talking about waiting 75 days. So you have to read the contract.
I'm a caveat to him. The same company I was talking about, I was excited about doing the work, the 5 to 10 years of work we read through their contract. Guess what they had on theirs? What's the worst? I'd rather 6 months. Theirs said pay when paid. At least 6 months, I know when they got paid. You know what I mean? Like, pay when paid. Beware of pay when paid, because I promise you, they will not let you look into their bank account to make sure they got paid.
As a small business, one of the things when you're working with federal and state projects, particularly counties and different things, one of the first contracts we received, we were working as a subcontractor to a contract that was doing some piping work for the county. The contract was set so that, and they think they're doing you a service by saying, when the contractor, when the prime gets paid, then they have to pay you within 14 days, okay? But you don't know what and when and how they invoice. You don't know when they actually receive the money.
Correct.
And so you're just sitting there on hold, and they're still calling you because you're in a contract, so they're still calling you to do the work, but you don't know when the next check's coming.
Now, here's the good thing about the county, the feds, you can actually find that information. You can find where they got paid. Unfortunately, this guy with pay when paid is a private job. I had to sign NDAs. I can't talk about the customer, so I don't even know how to reach the customer. I ain't got nothing. At least you could call the county procurement office and go, hey, look, I'm on contract X number ZYB. Hey, Bo, you cut that check? Oh, you did? How long ago? 6 days. All right, cool. Now I get to go down there and raise a little heck, because that's public information, because you're on a public contract. So, yeah, but if you don't know that, you know what I mean? It's just, they'll burn you, and they'll stretch you out, because guess what? Guess what you are in their balance sheet? Anybody know? You are AP, baby. You're an accounts payable. They already know this. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you think that was just created? You think that's an accident? What did I just tell you to do? Get your money in 28 days and pay everybody else in 90 days. They're doing it to you? Okay. All right. Well, maybe I sound smart to somebody stupid. So anyway, if you're looking at the way this is laid out, the asset column, the reason why I said this is not important unless you're $5 million and you have a bunch of cash in the bank, because let's really look at this. Accounts receivable is my money in somebody else's pocket. Does that help my cash position? Okay, all right. Inventory, I paid for that. That's sitting in my warehouse right now. Does that help my cash position? Okay, so you're just using assets as a blanket term to tax me. That's not going to help me run my business. That's not cash. I have to sell the inventory to generate the cash. I have to collect the accounts receivable to generate the cash. So everybody that, again, when I have these debates with accountants, it's kind of like, okay, great, I get your point. It helps you be better at taxing me. But guess what? It doesn't help me run my business better because it doesn't tell me my current cash position, and Lord knows it doesn't forecast it. I don't know if I'm going to have cash next month looking at this. I hope I do. But most small business owners are looking at the wrong financial documents to help them manage the cash position. With the exception of a few. We got some good guys in here who understand what they're doing. Now, this is the one that nobody ever brings. I will see a balance sheet and an income statement 10 out of 10 times. I'm talking about I never see anybody come in with a cash flow statement. But that's actually where your cash went. This actually tells you the most about your cash position in your business, and it tells you how cash is generated. Now, the best one on this one to me is operating activities. It's broken up into operating activities, financing activities. Anybody can guess the rest of them? Anybody want to guess? Investing activities. So if I bought a piece of equipment, that's an investing activity. I invested in my company. If I am a pillow maker and I bought a machine that makes more pillows faster, is that not an investment? Does that not count as an asset for me? I get to cash value that, and I get to depreciate that on this financial statement. Now, the best one is operating activities. So I told a client one time, hey, look, I'm looking at your cash flow statement. Your core business doesn't make enough money to support itself. They argue with me day and night. No. We're in trouble because of these loans under the investing activities. We had to take these loans. Listen to me. You had to take the loans because if I'm looking at your operating activities, it's negative. The operating is what the core business brings in from month to month, year to year. So if your operating activities are positive, I know your business brings in enough cash to support itself. This is the document most small business owners need to be looking at and studying very, very intently. This is the one they never actually get. This is where your cash went and where it came from. So people actually have taken auto loans and treated that like that was core business cash. That's a financing activity that has a debt associated with it, with interest on the debt. So really that money is going to cost you more than the money that you have in your bank account today. That is not an operating activity. And I've seen accountants put that under operating. Oh my God, I don't even understand it. Gives me, boy, I'm talking about heartburn. Like I'm in their offices like, you charging these people for this? Qualify them, man, qualify them. And if you don't know, ask somebody. Now, this is a document, again, if you look at it. Look at those cash from operations. Blew up, didn't it? I want to show you this because if you understand your business and if you understand what the drivers and generators of your business are, this is a reflection of a well-managed business. That management team is stellar. Their processes are great. That company culture is clear. You know why? Because all their revenue is coming from the core business operations. They don't need a loan. They're collecting their AR on time. They're paying people real slow because they're keeping cash inside of the business. that kind of clear to everybody now? Can you kind of just look at these numbers and watch that cash just blow up every year? That's why. Your core business operations are the key to you never ever needing a loan. But because most people don't know how to focus on the cash and where the cash is generated from, you get tricked into thinking your income statement and your balance sheet are the most important financial tools, and they're not. Not when you're under $5 million. Sure.
The only thing I see though, and I don't, you got to tell me on this,
Sure.
is the issuance of repayment of equity.
Mhm.
What is that? And that, to me, spearheaded them in this movement for growth, but what is that? What is that?
So, great question. I'm sorry, let me go through it. I was trying not to get into the weeds with it, but I love the weeds. So, when you look at the issuance of repayment of equity, typically what happens is one or two things. Either the ownership took in an outside investor, like an equity investor, like I'm from the PE world. That would be me. You either paid me my equity back, which released the shares that I owned, and now all the cash that was coming to me, generating to me, I was eating off the top of your business, that's your cash now. Or it could be that issuance of repayment could be the owner saying, you know what, we had a great year this year. Let's take a little bit of money out of there. And then they found out, wait a minute, we took way too much money out of the business, we need to pay this back. Happens. It could be exuberance, could be, I was about to buy that house, and then next thing you know, all the cash out of my business left because I took it all out. I robbed my business. I swear to God, I wish businesses could talk, and I wish they could sue in court. Because they would be suing entrepreneurs left and right. It's my name on the bank account. Y'all robbing me. Boy, you have to leave cash in your business every year. Even if you have a great year and there's a lot of cash in your business, you split it two ways if it's just you. You get half of that, and the business gets half of that, because that's your business partner. Actually, that's your number one business partner. Your LLC, your INC, whatever your incorporation is. So never ever deplete the distribution of cash out of your business without splitting it with the business. If it's two partners, then it's actually three-way split. Me and my partner get the money, and the business gets their share. And the business should get the lion's share.
Is that why people do bonuses at the end of the year?
Typically. And it just depends on the business and it depends on the structure. Sometimes those bonuses are literally, I hit my sales targets throughout the year, so I actually got more cash I'm gonna get taxed for anyway. Let me pay it to myself. Let me use it as an expense instead of getting taxed for it as cash income. Make sense? I'll pay myself a bonus in a heartbeat. Because it actually does help you on the tax front. And I may not even take the money. I may just, put it in an investment account or something like that. I don't want to get taxed for it either. You know what I mean? So I'm passing the tax buck. But I did have a mentor tell me one time, I'm going to share a quick story. So the highlight of my career, I was around like really, really rich folks. Like really, really rich. And they're non-assuming. Their whole club is get rich and shut up about it. I don't want my church begging me for money. I don't want the community, I don't want nobody to know I got money. So one of the biggest toy distributors for Walmart lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He was in the PE world just like I was. He literally pitched a purchase of 16 manufacturing companies to his firm. They were already in China. They already had the Walmart contract. And his firm turned them down. And he said, wait a minute, why am I arguing with these idiots? I'm going to raise my own money and buy this myself. He was sitting down one day and he was complaining about having to pay $50 million in taxes. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if he's paying $50 million in taxes, but that's about a $200 million company, bro. He might be more than that. Dang, okay. And one of the gentlemen next to him owned one of the biggest construction companies in Atlanta. I know he was doing $60, $70 million a year. And he looked over and he said, the success of your business is based on the size of the check you can write to IRS and then laugh about it. So guess what? Do you got the $50 million? Yeah. Can you laugh afterwards? Are you going bankrupt afterwards? Are you going to lose your house afterwards? No. Then what are you complaining about? Take a cigar, take a shot of bourbon, shut up. Changed my entire perspective on taxes. When you can cut that check and there's enough money left over to laugh, you're a successful business owner. Now, This is the crux of what brought us here. I'm sorry it took so long to get here, but if I didn't, frame it the right way, I feel like I did you a disservice. 13-week cash flow is really the tool that most business owners want. This is what you, your accountant, your fractional CFO, you and whoever the financial person you trust to run your numbers should be looking at on a weekly basis. Some of you are. But some of you still aren't looking at it the right way. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to dive into it. I want to know my current cash position from week to week. On Friday, I want to know how much money is in the bank on Friday, and I want to know how much money is going to be in the bank on next Friday. Just an estimate. Second thing I want to know is the projected cash position. So if I got money next week and next week and next week, do I have money 10 weeks from now? Do I have money 5 weeks from now? Do I have money 4 weeks from now? How long can I run on this cash until the cash goes negative or I go broke? Has to be projected. If it's not projected, the 13-week cash flow is worthless. What's coming out and when? So here's the problem with lumping all your expenses monthly. You pay your insurance monthly, but do you pay your insurance the same day every single week, every single month? Or does it shift from week to week, month to month? If you pay it on the first of the month, does the first of the month stay the same throughout the year? Well, you need to know that because that's probably where you're going to want your most cash. The 13-week cash flow is not just what comes in and what goes out. It's when it comes in and when it goes out. Because you could be fine looking at it monthly, but guess what? What if your customer doesn't pay you until the second week and every single thing that you have to pay for comes out on the first week of the month? What does that do to your cash position? Yeah, there you go. That's why this is so important. You want to know when things are coming out and when money is coming in. That's why that AR is so important. It's not just, hey, I want my money. It's, I want my money by this date or catastrophic things are going to happen. Or I need a bridge loan. Or I need to be preemptive. I need to fix this before it goes bad. This is the document most small business owners need to be living their life by. This should be your Bible. After that, you kind of want to know what you still owe. So you really want that number of accounts receivable still on there. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. Because if he paid me, did he pay me all of it? Typically, they don't pay you all of it. Sometimes they do. But every now and again, they don't. So if you didn't get all your money, how much is left over and when is that coming? That needs to be on this sheet as well. Last but not least, since you're stretching everybody else out for 3 months, what week does that third month fall on? Because I know I got to be cash heavy then. Because I just stretched him out for 3 months. I got to pay him all at one time. Don't bobblehead me. If none of that makes sense, just tell me. If you want to go through it deeper, we have to do that offline. But if you don't get the concept, let me know now. Okay? I'm going to assume you got it. Yep. We're going to find out in a minute. Please. We'll get a little bit deeper in a minute. Let me see how much time I got left. Because I wanted to spend an exorbitant amount of time on this piece. I ain't got that much, but we got enough. Oh, yeah, maybe. That's what you and your financial team are supposed to be doing now. I'm not going to give you the cheat. No. I got you. Great question. And you're right, I am. Because I actually want to help you, and I don't want to charge you. I don't want to overcharge you. I don't want to lie to you. I'm not going to sit up here and BS you. There are ways to do this. The one I'm going to give you is a baseline one. It can help you set up to talk to whoever your financial team is to give you a better insight, but there's still a few things missing off the one I'm going to show you. Now, it's a must. If your business is under $5 million, you don't have the cash reserves. You don't have enough cash churning through the business month to month, week to week to not look at it on a weekly basis. It does become a point where you got so much money coming in and so many days coming in, you can't look at it on a weekly basis anymore. You got to move to a monthly basis. Until you get to that point, probably want to be looking at this weekly. Now, what does that look like? So, if you're looking at this document here, this is your 13-week cash flow just in a nutshell. really a 13-week cash flow is a financial tool that any accountant / CFO worth half their salt should be able to produce for you. And it's something that if you want to work on or go through, I can help you with it just to make sure that it's accurate and you're getting the information you need for your business. But I won't do it for you because I'm not going to be responsible for your financial position. You're going to want somebody you're paying to watch your numbers to be responsible for this. But I can definitely hand you a template. And I'll be willing to share this with you. Just know them formulas ain't locked. When you can't delete certain things, it's messy. And that's why I don't want to share it with you. But what I'll do is I'll go through, I'll make sure I get a list of everybody who is here. I'll go through and manipulate and lock the formulas so you can't mess it up and enter forecast on its own, all that good stuff, and then I'll send it out. That way, you and your financial professional won't be arguing about why these numbers don't look right. So if you're looking at this really quickly, because I know we're coming up on the time frame here, and I don't want to keep you guys over, one of the things I want you to see is, there you go. Looking at these numbers here, you want to make sure cash receivable collections is there. Make sure that doesn't say cash, because if it says cash, you'll be manipulated into thinking you made money instead of gotten the money that you've already paid for. Do I need to say that again? If you see cash at the top of your financial statement, it lulls you to sleep thinking that you have made money that you haven't already paid for. When you see the cash come in from accounts receivable, the expenses of making that money have already gone out. That is not free money. That is not your money. You've already paid for that money. You're just collecting it. Does that make sense? Because some people take that money, they go, oh, I got $3,000 to spend. No, you don't. No, you don't. That $3,000 probably already cost you $2,000. You really only got $1,000 to spend. But they'll spend the whole $3,000. I did it too. Okay? So make sure that whatever that first one is, it's collections from accounts receivable. So you don't get lulled to sleep thinking free money. That ain't free money. All right?
So should you have both account receivable and account receivable collection?
So it's actually on here, and we're gonna go through that in a minute as well. Yep, great question. So if you're looking at this is a representation down here of collected from accounts receivable. They owed me $6 from the last time I did business with them. I invoiced them at another $17, and I'm going to be collecting $4 this week. Now, guess what they owe me after the $4? $37. So next week, guess what I need to be trying to collect? $37. The problem is on this one, and this is the reason why I said I didn't really want to share it with you, it doesn't tell you when you invoiced and when they're expected to pay out. So that's kind of the only reason I'm kind of like, I could share it, but this is just really an example. Like, you really want somebody to build one for your business. And if this is a good template for you, like I said, I'll manipulate it, I'll lock it up a little bit, and then I'll be glad to send it out to you. But you want to know the when. Because if I invoice on the 25th on a 30-day pay, then guess what? Next month on the 18th, hey, all right, now I just want to make sure that invoice is good now. I'm expecting that money on the 25th. 30 days, 30 days. You know what I mean? If you want to pay me early, ain't no day like the day. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I want my money. But if you're not collecting that money, you have no cash. And we'll show you what happens when you don't collect that money. So let's say you didn't collect right here. Ooh. That thing went negative quick, didn't it? Didn't take too long to go negative, did it? Because that ain't your money. That is the money you will owe for services you've already rendered. It's not free cash. Don't spend it as free cash. Don't see cash coming to your bank account and get giddy. Go, where did this come from and who still owes me? Success has to be managed. It is not the fun trips around the world until you sell the business. While you're running the business every single day, you're becoming a better professional manager. This is just one of the tools. And guess what? Some of these mistakes are going to be on your staff. But you won't know them until it's too late if you're not tracking this. Hey, wait a minute now. Where's my money? Where is my money? Hold on. Wait a minute. They owed me 73 last week. Let me collect my 73 this week. Guess what happened? I got money. But when don't I have money? Anybody can recognize it? So here go the expenses now. Guess what? I don't have money next week. Why don't I have money next week? Well, guess what? My software payment is due next week. Ooh, my accounts payable is due next week. Ooh, so do I need to collect a little bit more than what they owe me? Do I need to have a little loan set up? Now do you guys kind of get just a baseline value of this document? It's not just collecting the money, it's when and how much I need to collect to cover what's coming out this week.
If they don't separate the collection versus receivable, are they getting a clear picture of what their finances look like?
No. Not at all.
Because I see those all the time in my line of work, and I always see accounts receivable, but I never see collection.
You never see collect, and that's why I didn't want to hand you this document, ma'am, because that's the missing link. It's the dates. You want to get in the weeds? Like I love the weeds. I live in. People got to pull me out the weeds. I'm always in the weeds because I want to know when it's coming in and when I invoiced it. Because if it's on me, I got to hold somebody in my staff accountable. But if my payer didn't pay me and I did everything right, it's a different conversation when I get on the phone. Hey now, hey. All right now. That invoice went in on the 25th. I'm 100% sure. Here goes the email. Here goes your response. Can I get my check? So people think about their business being a cash machine. Yes, it is a cash machine. Your job is to turn this into a fat milk cow, and you just go, But until you learn how to manage the nuances of the business that create the cash, it's a process that you're going through, and then it turns into a cash machine once you figure out how to manage it efficiently. And then you can go, okay, I want more business. Okay, yes, I'm going to double my business. Yes, I'm going to move into another market. What typically happens with entrepreneurs is you're so good at what you do, your customers actually do value, and they go, I'm going to give you more work. I'm going to grow you. I'm going to help you, and they don't teach you this side of it. And you get excited, and you just take the work.
I got a question on that. I get customers that pay me before I even do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, I don't even have a process. Nowhere near as good. Some people pay cash, some people credit check.
Right,
When I go give them a quote for the job,
right.
hey, clear the land, tear the house down, that was $30,000. Cash, I only do cashier check. I don't do personal check. They cut me a check or pay cash, either or. And I give them, I say, you want to pay cash or you want to pay check? I give them a discount, they pay cash. They cut a check, hey, with your money, Andre, you can go fishing on our lake, hey, with the keys, I got keys for businesses, I got it all. And that's why I'm here to learning this process, because I never even did this process.
Now, your process is going to be different from this process. I'm glad you broke your business down like that, bro. Because what you're going to have to do is what is called job-specific costing. That's the reason why I'm paying so much money for Procore. So since you're getting paid off a job you haven't done yet, you have to track the cost of doing the job. And while you're doing the job, you got to make sure that prepayment still covers what you've already spent. So imagine if you're doing a job that's supposed to take 3 days. You got your workers allocated out there, but it ended up taking 8 days. That prepayment probably cost you money instead of making you money. So you have to actually do this for every job. Every single time you take a job. That's why nobody does construction accounting anymore, because it's job specific. Every job has to be treated like it's its own business. And it's very hard to find people to do it. I'm in the construction industry. There's only 4 people in the country that really are good.
So you were saying for job specific, you have to have one of these sheets for each job.
There's a better way to do it, but I'm just kind of setting the example. You almost want to track the expenses for every job, because especially if you get prepayment, how do I know that I finished this work efficiently? How do I know that my material costs didn't balloon between the time I gave them the quote and the time I actually had to execute on the work? What happens if they come back and say, well, it's going to be a 3-week delay. I'm sorry, I can't do it right now. I ain't saying that, but I'm just saying that. You know what I mean? Like that may be the reason.
Will this work for service-based businesses? I know he's doing like construction. I'm a grant writer. I own a grant consulting company. So I work with a lot of nonprofits, for-profits, and colleges. We write grants and we train technical assistance for them.
So I don't want to get into the weeds of your business in public. I am a free resource, by the way. You don't have to pay me to do this. At least not right now. You know what I mean? Like when I quit, you know what I mean? Yesterday's price ain't the day. So all right now. So but right now I'm a free resource. So we can walk through it, and I don't want to get into the nuance. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd rather keep that private. Because somebody may be listening that end up taking your whole business model. Don't think it won't happen. So just so we've seen that, and I just want to close out, and I want to make sure everybody gets their time back. So let me give you the next portion of this. Let me get this thing back. How you set this thing back again?
How do you feel about lines of credit?
Very, very strongly. The reason I feel very, very strong, look at you, worth your weight in gold, girl. So the reason why I am very, 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 very cautious about lines of credit is because if you don't have this level of financial management, dang, I gotta mess it up again. Hold on real quick. No, I won't mess it up. No. Great question. The reason is because on that 13-week cash flow, there's a section that says LOC, line of credit. And guess what? They're gonna want their monthly payment on a certain day of the week. And guess what you're gonna have to do? Pay them back. If you have the financial wherewithal and the insight in your company to pay back a line of credit is your best friend. Because just like we saw, the following week when all the payments were coming out, you were about to be $1,900 short. That line of credit is your bridge. That's your lifeline. You use that line of credit to cover that gap, bam, you back to normal. But if you don't know when that line of credit needs to be paid back and the business ain't generating enough cash to pay it back, that line of credit is going to cost you your business. So debt properly managed is really, really good. Robert Kiyosaki, oh yeah, good debt and bad debt. Sounds smart to somebody stupid, boy. If I can't manage the financial position of my business, then all debt is bad debt. You have to understand where you are. So again, in our key takeaways, how GPS works. Anybody want to know how GPS works? What you have to do to make a GPS work? Yeah, I know you can't answer that question, Eric. Okay, put the adjuster in, tell them where you want to go. That's not the first step, though. It won't. It'll recognize where you want to go, but it won't work until you do something else. If you don't give the GPS your current location, it doesn't cut on. It'll look at the address. It'll tell you, oh, yeah, I got the address. Here it is. It's right here by Waffle House. But you will not start driving and getting directions until you tell it where you are right now. So know where you are right now. Throughout this whole presentation, if any of this was like, dang, I need that, just write it down. We all need it. This is not information that you're going to get outside of this room. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to tell you this because everybody thinks you're competition. I think more is more. More small business owners we have get to the $102 million in the state of South Carolina, the more we get to leverage South Carolina. Hey, buddy, you brought Scout Motors here. That's great. What about me, baby? I can buy my politicians, too. You want your seat next year? You got flex. And I want to see more small business owners in this state have flex. Now, we're going to move on to find your great managers, find your great service providers. And when I say great, I mean great. If you don't have a manager, you just be like, man, this boy can almost run my business. You don't have the right manager. If you're not a little bit afraid of your management team, you don't have the right managers. And I don't mean fear as in ego. I mean fear as in like, boy, these boys could literally run off and run this business without. I got to get some non-competes. Good Lord, I need at least 3 years to get a head start on these boys. If you're not at that level, you ain't got the right managers. The service providers should be the same way. Your service provider should know your business so well that when you call, they know exactly what you need. Yeah, it's the third week of the month. Yep. We're about to go through the analysis right now. I've already did your numbers. You guys are looking great. Yep, you said you got another contract coming up. Yeah, you might not want to do that contract right now. You guys got these bills coming out this month. We looking at it right now. If you do start this project, start it in the middle of the month. Don't start it at the first of the month because you're not going to have the cash. If you're not getting that level of insight, you will never maintain financial stability in your business. It's not going to happen. Again, if you're looking at your team, create this growth plan, make it clear, and how you want to make sure it's clear, whether or not people can execute on it. You can say whatever you want to your customers, you can say whatever you want to your employees, you can say whatever you want to your service providers, but until they're executing the plan you laid out, you don't know if it's working. Okay? And if you want to really know if it's working, your KPIs are going to tell you that. Did we actually hit the 20-person target? Did we build the 12 houses next week? Did we build the 10 houses the week after the 12? Are we hitting our goals consistently? If not, then we need to go back to step 1, go back to step 2 and step 3, and figure out what we need to change, because we got to hit these targets. That's the only way the business is going to run. Because you can die as slow as you want to in business. Lord knows you can. You can have a $20,000 a month bill that you got to pay to make your business run. You can get 60 this month, run it for 3 months without any new bills, borrow some money, get 80 next month, run it without some. You can literally play hopscotch all you want. And at the end of the year, you're stressed out and broke. But you still got your business. Still can flex, still got that ego. Yeah, man, I made it through the year, man. You had a great year. Great year, man. You look like you done lost 40 pounds. You had a great year? Okay, all right. I need to have a year like that too then. Good Lord. Last but not least, you must adjust. Every single time something happens to your business, it's on you to figure out how to make it work for you and how to leverage it. I don't care if you lose a customer. If you lose a customer, so what? It's an opportunity to find a better one. Guess what? If I have a staff member that is so good that he found a better job, I'm proud of that. That boy came out of my shop. Now, you know what? Where your new job at, tell the procurement people about us. let them know who we are. You know what I mean? We could produce an employee like that, they might want to do some business with us. Look at every single thing you do. How could that be leveraged against my business? How could I use that to make my business better? You can't do that with ego. Ego is easing God out of the situation. So just know that nothing will ever grow with ego. Now, speaking of ego, you need to go ahead and deflate mine. So if you guys think I suck, you need to tell me right now by going to this little link, or you can use this QR code and tell me exactly how you think I did, what I need to do better. Should I be talking slower? Am I crazy? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get nothing he said. Just let me know. Continuous feedback loops. Yes, ma'am. So, you would ask me that. I can never remember that. I can never remember the code. Hold on, let me look it up. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Lord, what email did I use? Okay, you said you need a code. It doesn't have a code to sign, it says. Oh, the code is TALK. T-A-L-K, excuse me. Did it work? All right. Did everybody get this? Oh, never mind, I'll wait. Hey, I ain't see you back there. And you can leave as much feedback as you want, and I will definitely take it to heart. I want to get better. I want to make sure that I'm more impactful, and I can only do that if you just tell me the truth. None of you like me that much not to tell me the truth anyway, so, you know what I mean? I'm expecting some good criticism.
What's the code one more time?
TALK. Has everybody got the QR code? Because I want to make sure you get my contact information if you don't have the QR code. No, I'll wait. No, please, I'll wait. No problem. I just want to make sure everybody gets the contact information and they know how to find me. Email is definitely better than phone calls. As you can see, I'm rarely in my office. There are people calling me right now that ain't going to get me on that office phone. So just make sure you send me an email. I respond to emails quickly. Okay. Gotcha. Anybody got any questions? All right. Ma'am? Oh, yeah. We'll set up a session. Yep. We'll definitely talk. And I actually have a resource list, so if anybody wants that, it has accountants and lawyers on there that, are CPAs that are, reputable. Just make sure, again, they know your industry. Talk to them about your industry. Trip them up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, do you guys do job-specific costing? Nah. You're not my accountant. You know what I mean? Man, you got off good. Boy, I paid $180. Them boys ran me through the ringer. Construction accounting is job specific. You'll end up looking like you made way more money than you actually did if you're not breaking out your cost by job. I paid way more money than I made. So, job specific. Trust you me, I can write a Bible on job-specific accounting, boy. Ooh, Lord. Anyway, that's how you catch me. That's where you find me. And I am actually in office. I don't work from home that much. Yeah. But I got the nicer offices down there in Orangeburg anyway, so save me a drive. And anytime you email me and want to get with me, I'll send you a calendar link. It has my whole calendar. Mr. Myers can attest to that. He's scheduled immediately, and I'm telling you, it is not hard to get me. Once it's on that calendar, I'm there. If it ain't on that calendar, I can promise you I won't be there. All right, thank you guys for sitting here this whole time and listening to me, man. I really, really appreciate your attention and your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John, for that awesome presentation. We appreciate everybody for attending. Thank you for sticking with us. And I do want to reiterate the upcoming events. So on June 6th, we have an awesome event that we've partnered with the South Carolina Department of Commerce. It's going to be talking about the Size Up SC tool. And I'm excited to announce that we are the first organization to host that event, talking about that tool. And it's going to go over some awesome events on how to size up your business. So that's June 6th, and that will be virtual. So if you're on our email list, be sure to look out for that. We'll be sending that out soon. And then I'm going to turn it over to Pam to close out. Oh, one more thing. If you didn't sign in, can you please sign in for me? Thank you.
I will not repeat what Sasha said. I just say thank you to each of you for being here. And of course, I'm always amazed at John because I always learn something new. So I've been in the finance game a very long time, but you need to always be a continuous student. So every time he covers something, I'm always learning something new. So thank you so much. And I knew you were going to deliver. I had absolutely no doubt. So I don't know if Sasha mentioned the survey that we'll be sending After the event, just make sure you provide us with the feedback. We also look for suggestions for additional workshops. We have lunch for you all. It is actually one of our small local business enterprise, two of them actually, that are providing lunch and desserts today. We have the Food Academy, who has boxed lunches for you, and then we have Sweet Gigi's Bakery, who has the desserts for you today. They are 2 SLBEs, and so we want to practice in our office what we preach and try to use our small businesses every opportunity that we have. So thank you so much for being here. Any questions you have, you're happy to hang around and talk. We just can't have food or drinks inside of the chambers, okay? Thank you all.